Hello and welcome back everyone to another exciting episode of ToucanPlays BeamNG.drive. And today I wanted to do an episode that I've been wanting to do for a while now. You see, when I first started BeamNG, there really is no tutorial for this game. There's nothing that really helps you out. It's not an easy game to learn, and there are so many different settings and control things that you need to learn, and it's not an easy game to get into. So knowing all of the struggles that I had getting started in BeamNG, when Ryan Davis approached me and said, "Hey Toucan, do you use a controller? And if so, how do you set it up?" I knew I needed to make a video for him. So I am here to tell you, yes, I most definitely do use a controller. Using a keyboard is quite difficult. I know some people actually do use the keyboard, and BeamNG being a PC specific game, there's no console version that I'm aware of. So, you know, you can use the keyboard and mouse if you feel like it. I just personally prefer using the controller just because it just feels more natural to me. I don't know, I feel like I have more control. The brand that I use is called Power A. It's just a generic Chinese company, nothing special about them. They are one of the cheaper ones on Amazon though, and the controller is actually very solid, works out very well. And the reason why I use an Xbox 360 controller is because it's comfortable, it's inexpensive, and it works really well with Windows. Microsoft of course owns Xbox, and they also own Windows, which is what PCs run on. So that is why I use an Xbox 360 controller. You can also use a PlayStation 4 controller, a PlayStation 5 controller. There is a little bit more setup involved with that. This tutorial is not going to cover how to do that. There are plenty of other tutorials on the internet, on YouTube, on how to set up a PlayStation controller for use with your PC. There are lots and lots of other generic PC controllers out there, though some of them are dirt cheap. I would caution you though about getting a super cheap controller, because cheap controllers, you tend to get what you pay for. All right, moving on. How do I actually set up the controller? So if we go in here to options and we go to controls, this is all in BeamNG. Then we go to vehicle. You can see the throttle is right trigger, nothing special there. Brake is left trigger. You can also, if you're using a keyboard, you know, the up and down arrows on the keyboard also work for that. Steering, you can use the left or right buttons on the keyboard if you're using a keyboard. We're talking about controllers though, so I do use the left thumbstick as most people would. The left bumper, right bumper is for the clutch and parking brake. For monster trucks, there is no clutch, there's no parking brake, so you don't have to worry about doing either one of those. Now, here's where things get a little specific to me. I have set my controller to be shift up as the button A. That is the down, if you're looking, I'll put a graphic up on the screen. That is the bottom button. So I don't know what that would be on a PlayStation, but for the Xbox controller, that is the A button. It's the bottom button. And the reason why that one is shift up, I'll explain once I start driving. And then reverse gear is Y. I don't have a button for shift down. And I'll tell you why, is because when you go into reverse, and you do have to hold down Y when you're reversing, you have to hold down Y and the throttle in order to actually reverse. So you're holding down right trigger and Y in order to go backwards. But when you put it into reverse, it automatically resets your gears to reverse gear, and then you start over from reverse to neutral to first gear, second gear, etc. So the reason why I do not have a shift down button is because the reverse button basically takes care of shifting down for me. Again, these are the controls that I use. I highly recommend that you check out whatever control scheme works best for you. Test it, play around with it, figure out what works best for you. Now, when it comes to the control pad, the direction pad, the down button is your ignition state. So it turns your truck on and off. If you're in the game, sometimes the trucks will just randomly turn off. Like when I tab out to a different tab, I come back to BeamNG and all of a sudden my truck engine is turned off. I don't know why. You have to hold down the down button on the cross pad, and that will cycle your engine back up. You have to hold it down for a few seconds and it'll cycle it back up. Now, if that is all under the vehicle tab, if you look at vehicle specific tab, the vehicle tab, that is for every vehicle in BeamNG. Vehicle specific, this is for Avenger specifically. So I have mine set up to where independent rear steering left is the X button. and independent rear steering right is the B button. So that would be the left and right on that, you know, little cross matrix there. So X and B are across from each other, left and right. And you have to hold those down. Now, you can set this independent rear steering axis to your stick here, right? But the thing is that your right stick actually controls the camera during orbit mode. And I like having control over my camera, and I don't want my rear steer to move every time I'm adjusting my camera. So I do not assign my independent rear steering axis to my right stick. For that reason, I don't want to be steering while I'm moving my camera around. Again, your mileage may vary. If you like having your right stick as your rear steer, then by all means go right ahead. There is one more option here that you could consider, and that is toggle linked rear steering. What this means is that rear steer can be always on. So whenever you steer with your with your left stick, so the front steer, whenever you steer with your front steer, if you want your rear steer to steer as well, then you select this. The default is the letter B on the keyboard, not B on the controller, but B on the keyboard. If you select that, then your rear steer will automatically move along with your front steering. Now, I have this set off by default because I don't always want to make a super sharp turn, and it throws me off when my rear steer is always on. So when I want to make a sharp turn, I'll hold down X or B on my keyboard, on my controller, but I don't have this set always on because I don't always want to make a sharp turn. And then also on the cross pad, reset physics. What this means is that your truck will reset to the home position, essentially. So like if you're flying in the air, it will bring you back down to the ground and it will reset your truck. And then recover vehicle, yes, right here. Insert is the one that I use most frequently, but if you use the left on the directional pad, the D-pad, that will recover your vehicle in place, meaning if you've got some damage, if your tires are broken, if you push left on the cross pad, you'll reset your truck back to its original state in the spot where you're at. Another important camera setting to note is the free camera mode here, Shift plus C. If you push that, I'll show you what you can do with that real quick. If you hold down Shift plus C, you enable free camera mode and you can move around wherever you want. And then if you press the F7 key, it will teleport your truck to wherever your camera is at. So it's kind of handy. Shift plus C, move to wherever you want your truck to go. F7 to teleport it. Really handy, very nice little trick to move things around a little bit better. Okay, a couple other keyboard shortcuts to note. One is the home key. Home key will take you back to wherever your last spawn point was, or if you hit escape, you come over here to on your radio menu, go to manage, and then set home wherever you're at. Ooh, got to drive up forward a little bit. Let's say that I want this spot right here to be my home. I hit escape. Oh, escape, manage, set home. Now, when I drive away, yahoo! Nice little flip there. If I drive away and then I hit the home key, I'll automatically reset right where I set my home to. All right, another default keyboard shortcut is the Q key. You can see up in the top left corner, I can switch it to arcade or realistic behavior. Basically what that means, arcade, I don't have to shift gears. Realistic, I do have to shift gears. I typically always use realistic, and I'll tell you why, is because when I'm in realistic mode, I start to drive, and then if I want to brake, I hold down the left trigger. So I hold down left trigger, I brake, and then if I want to reverse, I hold down Y and hold down the throttle and I can reverse. And see, I can move pretty quickly through that. All right, since this is Avenger, I have 3 gears. So I shift it into first, second, third, and then I can start to brake, and then I can stop before I hit the wall. Then I can throw it in reverse and I'll back up. And you see, now once I let go of the Y button, it shifts me straight into neutral, and then I can shift up with the A button, and then I can do a nice little power wheelie there. Now, Conversely, if I have this set to arcade mode, if I hold down the right trigger, I don't have to change gears, which is nice. But then when I slow down, it takes me a long time to slow down. And then I can go into reverse. It just takes a lot longer, and I can't switch gears as easily, which makes it hard to do things like stoppies. See, like I could have done a stoppy there, but I wasn't able to switch gears fast enough. And then braking is a lot harder in arcade mode too. So I almost always exclusively use realistic mode, just like I said, for the braking power. All right, so let me show you a few tricks that you can do. First one we're gonna do is a stoppy. So when you hit a lip, you wanna come down off of it, and then you wanna throw it in reverse. There we go. Get it into a nice stoppy. Now you wanna brake it. You want to hit the brake when you're at the apex to try and hold that stoppy into place. It's easier said than done. It takes a little bit of practice. I mean, you can see I'm not even that great at it. There we go. Nice little moonwalk up onto the step up. And then we could follow it up with a little seesaw wheelie there at the end. So all I'm doing to do that is I'm holding down the Y button and holding down the throttle, and then I go into reverse, and then I quickly shift it back into first gear. There we go. And I'm holding down the brake a little bit so that I can get a little bit of traction on those tires. Oh, too far. Stoppies are not the easiest thing in the world to do, but they are kind of, you practice enough, you'll get it. There we go. Nice little stoppy. Don't go too far though. Oh, crunch, crunch. The big problem that I have is holding down the throttle a little too hard. And I recognize that that's an issue for me. You don't want to throttle too hard when you're doing the stoppy. You kind of want to do it nice and gentle. There we go. Oh, I braked too hard. But you get the idea. Practice at it, and eventually you'll be a stoppy master. Okay, so the next trick I want to show you is a slap wheelie. This is really easy. You hit the jump, and then you just throttle through it at the end, and there's a slap wheelie for you right there. Don't go too far because you'll hit the crowd, and you don't want to do that. So again, hit the jump. When you land, throttle through it. Stay in first gear, I find, is the best. If you're in second gear or third gear, if you're an Avenger, then your gear ratio, your torque is not high enough to be able to pull off the slap. Of course, if you're on a track with a backflip container, doing a backflip off the backflip container is always fun. You don't want to go too fast because the, ooh, nice. You don't want to go too fast because it'll hit the front there, and I mean, you can see it already ripped the hood off of Avenger here. So yeah, you don't want to hit it too fast, but you do want to power through the whole flip, the whole backflip, and then you can sometimes pull off another wheelie at the end there. I've seen some people, they drive at it really fast, and I'll show you what happens when you drive at it too fast. You'll hit the back and the wheelie bar in the back, and it just crashes. It's not good to hit it too fast. One nice little combo that I like to do is I do the backflip, and then I finish it up with a moonwalk. Oh, my car's falling apart. There we go, backflip, followed up with a moonwalk. It turns out really well. The crowd loves that one. You can also go for the reverse backflip. That's always fun. A little easier to do with the Willman chassis, but you can do it with the Team Scream. All right, so another trick that you can do is an endo or a front flip. You want to get a nice slap wheelie going. There we go. There's a nice little endo. Oh, I crashed it up. If you find yourself on your sidewall, what you want to do is just kind of throttle through it and then aim your tires towards the ground. So in that case, I was on my left side, so I turned my tires to the left, and then eventually you'll pop back up, and then you have to cut the throttle right away. You don't have to brake, but you do have to cut the throttle. All these things are kind of things that you get the hang of after a little while. Anyway, that's about it for this episode. Thank you guys so much. I hope you guys learned something. Oh, come on, there we go. There's a nice little endo flip right there. Nice. Oh, man, it always results in a broken wheel on these CRC chassis. The Avenger chassis always break whenever you land on it, even a little bit weird. Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you guys learned something. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Be sure to check out the video that you see on your screen right now. And hey, we'll see you guys on the flip side. Woohoo!